A couple of things to report since my last video. I was thinking about doing a stainless steel base, but then I'd have to go out and buy all the stainless steel, and I already had all these materials here. So I went ahead for the fireplace table that I'm working on, the ethanol fireplace table. I went ahead and made it out of wood. So it's all put together. I'm just waiting for stuff to glue or dry, glue to dry, I guess would be a good way to complete that thought. So the plan is that on the longer edges, I'm going to do 3 stainless steel bolts that will go through from the outside through the 2x4 framework inside from the finished fascia to give it a design aesthetic on the outside with the stainless steel, corrosion resistance, because this can be outside, but that'll all be done after it's sanded and stained and had the polyurethane put on it. And then on the ends, each ends will just be 2 stainless steel bolts going through there. That'll give it good strength because it's that 2x4. Actually, it's been cut down, so this is 1 3/4 by the standard 1.5 inch thickness of a 2x4, and that's what that fireplace table is going to rest on. So I want to use some strong bolts, carriage bolts or something, to hold that fascia together to that frame that's going to hold that fireplace table. And then I'll put some sort of feet or something on the very bottom here to elevate the wood up off the ground if it's an outdoor thing. Again, that ethanol fireplace, nice thing about it is it can be used both inside and outside. So I'm going to use again a dark Jacobine stain for that once that's all dried. Next update is the high bar table. This is actually the first GFRC tabletop that I made, and it's the longest project to date. And I just ran into another snag. I was just getting ready to put it all together and be done with it, but I made a boo-boo, and it's all my fault. As you can see there, here's the seats. I got one done, so that's, I'll kind of take this off of here. I don't like to spin it with the with one hand. It's kind of, I don't want to drop it. Don't want to drop. Let me turn this over because you can see the finished side here. And we'll flip it over and then you can see how I mounted. It's actually glued with Gorilla Glue down and the masonry screws. Now I did have to cut those down because the shortest I could find was like 1 1/4 inches or something in the bag. See, here's how they come straight. And I couldn't find anything shorter than that. This was the shortest I could get in the 1/4 inch thickness. So I just cut them down to an appropriate length so that they wouldn't go all the way through. Now, what is it that I stumbled into? You can see I had it all marked, ready to go, and I drilled one hole, and my drill bit stopper slipped on me. Apparently I didn't have it on tight enough, and I pushed a little too hard, and voila, bingo, bango, bongo, the drill bit went all the way through. The other thing I'm thinking is I was pushing on it pretty good because I had that stopper and kind of watching it. So I think from going forward, I'm going to have to be a little more careful about not putting quite so much pressure on that hammer drill in case this does slide, which it did, I think, because that's way longer than I needed, I think. Put that up there. That's close. But it slipped enough. I might have slid it back too. I don't know. I was so angry. Expletives were flying. So you can see that needs to, I don't think I'm going to repair that. I'm just going to make a new one. So that's kind of why this one's back on hold. So another snag. But I've got all the Galvy lined up and everything tightened, pretty much good to go, other than just the seat posts haven't been tightened up. They're just kind of sitting in there until I get all these done, and then I'll get those all tightened. Yeah, so that's holding that up. And the other thing I wanted to show you real quick was the bottom of this with some stain. When I turned it over after I stained it, you can really see the little styrofoam beads coming through there. And you can kind of see them without the stain, but it's a lot easier with the stain. They really kind of come out, pop out. So you can kind of see that styrofoam in that back coat. Again, you can't really see it here. You can see that layer of face coat that doesn't have any styrofoam. And then behind that, now this is a little bit over the top. That face coat's probably 5/8, I think, 1/2 inch, 5/8 thick. And this is just over the top that kind of spilled down over the top when I ground down, and some of it came all the way out to the board. So there's a little bit of a drop there, but my 2x4 is going to sit back quite a ways, so it's fairly smooth and level. I've checked everything and it'll be sufficient. I don't want to grind too much because then it'll start looking goofy on the outside. So I thought that was interesting, so you can really kind of see those. So and it does make it lighter. This is easy, even though it's not as big as these other ones. This is a lot easier to move around. There you can kind of see some of those where I drilled the drip weep holes for water to come through. You can kind of see some of that styrofoam bead in there. Anyway, I appreciate you guys watching. Thanks a lot. Bye.